This is Michael McKeon, aka Morris Fletcher, aka Chuck McGill. You know who I am. But it's time for Inside the Gilliverse with Eric Broadbent.
You're watching Inside the Gilliverse, talking all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Brought to you by the Royal Baubles Collection at bobbleheads.com. For all your favorite characters from the Gilliverse, shop the Royal Baubles Collection at bobbleheads.com. Also brought to you by Rode Microphones, the official microphone supplier of Inside the Gilliverse. See their entire lineup today at rode.com. Now please welcome your host, Eric Broadbent.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Season 3, Episode 14 of Inside the Gilliverse, talking all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and of course, Better Call Saul. My name is Eric Broadbent, and it comes with extreme pleasure to welcome tonight's guest, his first time here on the show, actor and comedian Josh Fadem. I'm going to bring him on right now. I think I do have him. He's locked in here somewhere. He's locked away, working on his camera. Here he is.
What?
There he is.
Wow.
How you doing, Josh?
Wow, I'm doing good. So this is what it's like to be inside the Gilliverse.
Yeah, and it's only this big. It's like 720p. You have 720 pixels.
Now we're being seen on the Zoom. We're being seen, or we're recording on the Zoom and we're being heard on the
No,
pixels?
we're being seen and heard on the Zoom off to the YouTube networks and all the crazy stuff.
So you can see I wore my camera guy, official camera guy glasses frames from the show for tonight, because I know those fans are gonna love those frames. They're gonna say, wait a second, where's the guy? But he's got the frames. I wore the frames.
That's good, because it always comes up on every single, anytime there's a prop involved, like, whether it's, Skinny Pete's Charles Baker's, beanie or whatever the case may be, everyone's always talking about the props. How did those come about? Did you bring those to the show? Did the show bring that to you?
It's actually an interesting story to me,
okay,
but possibly not to other people. But I'll tell it anyway, since you asked. I auditioned with my regular glasses frames, and I got hired off the audition with my regular glasses frames, and I wore the audition to the first episode I did in season 1 with my regular glasses frames. I got hired again for another episode, season 2. I had broken my glasses frames over the course of that year. But I put tape on them, and I said, hey, I got tape on them. And then they said, well, that's okay. Hey, guess what? We'll just order some that look just like those. And then because I had shown up with tape on them, they put their own prop tape on these. And these are the ones they ordered for the character of Camera Guy. And when the show was, and I wore them every episode. And I also brought my own lenses and said, go ahead, put my lenses in the glasses. And I believe it was Matt in the props department. He put a piece of tape on the glasses, and then the tape stayed, and that was my contribution to the glasses of the character, that I actually broke my glasses, repaired them with real tape, and then they said, here's some prop tape, so it looks like the camera guy broke his glasses and fixed it with tape.
I'm actually very glad, I think, that I asked that question.
Yeah. I wonder how many people were so interested in the character that they stopped, zoomed in. They go, yeah, he does have tape on his glasses every episode.
Mm-hmm. There's some very, very astute fans. It's amazing what they do with literally freeze framing things and checking dates on handicap parking permits. And
I'm hearing about this stuff. Yeah.
I never, ever professed to be an expert on the show. I'm far from it. I just enjoy the show like everyone else. And I'm educated every single day by our viewers in the chat, our guests. And even Vince and Peter are stumped all the time. Some of these things.
Well, they're saying, wow, I didn't think about that, but now I'm taking credit for it.
Exactly.
I'll say, now for some people, in case they get freaked out, I might take these glasses off at some point because I am nearsighted, and also there's this reflection flare thing.
I can see myself and you and your lenses.
Yeah, it's infinite. Right?
It is. It's a loop.
Yeah. We're just going deep down into Camera Guy's mind.
Yep. Unnecessary.
Inside the Gilliverse of the eyes.
That's right. You know what? We should do something a little weird here as well, too, for a second. So I was telling you there's a little...
Board.
Yeah, you good for weird?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was telling you a little thing about Tom Schnauz coined a long time ago. If I don't ask you this right off the hop, I'm going to forget totally. So the Gilliverse is this all-encompassing place that we take off to in this little ship every Friday night. And when we get there, it has a smell, okay? And it could be pleasant. It could be non-pleasant. It could be fantastic. But it smells like two things. So we get to this place, this destination, and it smells like this and this. And there is a right answer. And I'm going to ask you what you think it smells like inside the Gilliverse.
Now, I got to pick apart the question first, if that's all right.
Sure.
Are we talking metaphorical smells, or are we talking like the two things it literally smells like? And are we talking about in your place, or are we talking about our places combined?
No, it's so this Gilliverse is somewhere we hop in a ship and we go somewhere. We're just going to say it's maybe
so we're there. We're in the Gilliverse.
We fly there and we get there. We open up the door from our ship and we're like, oh man, that's
now. I got another question.
Okay.
When we talk about the Gilliverse, I know you mentioned Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, El Camino, but are we going even deeper through the Gilliverse? I mean, are we going X-Files? Are we going Home Fries? Are we going Wilder Napalm?
We could.
We going there was a show that was out that Vince co-created a couple of years ago, and I know because my friend John Ennis was on it, and also because it was announced.
You know what? We can go as far as you want to go. And
okay, just want to make sure. I'm trying to figure out what to grasp for answers here. I mean, so it could smell like meth, fries, a waiting room. I see some of those stuffed toys there. So that's where we actually are at. And Gilliverse sounds like it might not be on planet Earth. These are just suggestions. I'm really looking to collaborate on an answer.
No problem. All right. So it's two things. It could be like bubble gum and peanut butter. All right. So
that could have nothing to do with the Gilliverse.
No. And it has a lot to do with Tom Schnauz, which is, I'm sorry to say that in advance.
Okay.
But it has a lot to do with him.
Testicles?
Ooh, that's a good one.
No. There's two of them. There's two testicles most often.
Yeah.
Testicles and another testicle. Those who follow Tom Schnauz on Twitter will understand that deep cut of a reference. That was about as clever as I think I could get.
You got one more try.
Okay. Well, how about Tom Schnauz? Tom Schnauz. It smells like great writing. Oh, too bad.
Tom does not write great episodes.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, of course he does. Of course he does. One of my favorite writers. But no, the correct answer is bacon and fear.
Oh, is that a reference to a thing he said before?
Yeah, he told me the whole shtick. I forget what it was. He'll tell you if you run into him. But that's his thing. So, and we would have had an acceptable answer tonight, and we'll tell you why later on. But an acceptable answer would have been Gilliverse Gould. All right, so Gilliverse Gould would have been an honorary answer.
Okay.
But we have some great questions coming in already. Karina, our executive producer, is texting me as we speak. So she's actually saying you were on Room 104.
Yeah.
I have to rewatch. Love that show. She says she loves anthology stuff. Okay. Or is that was from Julian. Julian said, ask him what it was like working on the show Room 104. And I'll jump over to Julian's other question in just a second. Yeah, tell us about that.
Okay. It was a real fun and fast working on Room 104. I got the job offer, and then I think it was like it was one of the bigger kind of more short notice, here you got a lot to do type opportunities I've had, and a bunch of monologues and stuff, and my episode was with David Paymer, and it was directed by a director who is a frequent cinematographer named Benjamin Kasulki. And yeah, it was real terrific getting to work with David Paymer, Academy Award nominee David Paymer, Mr. Saturday Night, City Slickers 1 and 2, On Becoming a God in Central Florida, Marvelous Miss Maisel, David Paymer, consummate character actor, professional. So I got to play a vampire, basically, spoiler alert, who had a public access show in the late 70s with young David Paymer. And then I turned into a vampire and we had a falling out because he didn't. And so I went into hiding. And then a girl who's a fan, I'm watching clips on YouTube, reunites us. And it's, the sparks and tension fly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm glad he asked that. And you know what we're going to do? Tell for those that don't know, I mean, it's someone living on a rock. Tell the people who this Julian is that's asking these questions right now.
Julian is AKA sound guy on
what's that show called?
On that show called Gould's Better Call Saul. Julian and I play 2/3 of the film crew on the show. Julian Bonfiglio. I've never actually heard Bonfiglio. I never actually think I've heard Julian. I could tell you all kinds of things about Julian, but I don't think I've ever actually heard Julian pronounce his name. So I always say Figlio, even though I think my logic is of course it's Filio.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, forgive me, Julian, for not pronouncing your name correctly. Me, Josh Fadem, not pronouncing your name correctly. It's Fadem. That's the joke.
Oh, there you go. So I thought I got it wrong for a minute because I can pronounce Bob Jones wrong. Totally. Yeah.
A boat.
I know you're teasing me about that.
Well, it's not, I'm surprised Canadians don't throw it back at Americans and go about.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? The way Americans, we'll be like, oh my God, he said a boat or a boot.
Okay, I'll throw it back at you. You want to play that game?
About? What's that all about?
Okay, I'm going to throw it back at you. I'm going to throw it back to the U.S. accent now. Yeah. What do you call the thing?
I want some.
Yes. What's on the top of your house? What's up there? What's that called?
Roof.
Wow.
Shingles.
No, because that's right. Because I've had friends in the States say roof.
They say roof.
Roof.
Well, I gotta say it's roof out there.
Okay, good. Yeah, it is roof. It's very roof. We got a roof audience tonight for sure.
Yeah. Oh, do we have a roof audience? Roof crowd.
That's right.
Whoa. Why do we usually hear laugh tracks and they've been silent the whole time?
Yeah, we usually just get that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. We can buzz them a whole bunch.
That's right. That's not too bad then. That's not too bad. And I know I do say a lot. I
say own it, love it, be it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unique. I don't want to go around here about all the time when there could be in a boot here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Not me.
Let's jump over to two more questions. Two-parter from Julian Bonfiglio.
Yeah.
Bonfiglio.
Julian.
He asked, what were the first moments like when you found out the part would be? Every time I say about, I'm going to be so subconscious now tonight.
I'm sorry, but we're having fun.
I just want to end the show right now. What were the first moments when you found out the part would be recurring?
What were my feelings? The part I found it. Well, I didn't find out until they asked me back till season 2. And that's a funny question. I don't know I'm curious what now Julian's answer is, but my memory is, and this is probably a frequent thing for any kind of character actor who recurs on things, because you always want to come back, especially if it's a great show. I remember getting a veil check, when season 2 was getting ready to film, and they're saying, "Are you free, for this day?" And I said, "Of course, yeah." And then they kept checking more dates, and then we kept getting more episodes in the season. And but you don't know that they're going to keep having you back or whether they are or not. And so I remember the first episode I did, you're just like, "Oh, I'm happy to be here," and whatever. And, camera guy, he's kind of a jerk to the protagonist. And so I looked at the scripts, and my instinct wasn't quite, right, understanding that it's a character. And I think I read some scripts and I was like, man, camera guy, he's such a jerk to Jimmy. Ugh, Jimmy's not going to have camera guy back. And understanding that's what's fun about it. Eventually, I think I got my head around it, or once I learned the lines, I think it made sense. But yeah, your instinct when you read it, you're like, don't be rude, because no one wants a rude guy around. He could easily go find some polite camera guy.
Exactly.
I should pitch them that they rewrite that the camera guy's nice.
I think Camera Guy had a better longevity because he wasn't, yes to everything Jimmy says or Saul says, right?
Yes. I think that's why that's a great lesson to learn about writing.
Yes, I agree.
You can write a jerk, and then you get to write the jerk, and then someone can play a jerk. If you just write everyone nice, how uninteresting would that be?
Exactly. Yeah, life is not perfect and it's not all sweet.
Yeah, it's more real that way. He might actually have been he might be a jerk. I've known that guy. I know those. I knew it does. I've known. I didn't go to film school, but for some reason around that same time period, because I'm about the age that camera guy that I play as camera guy in real life. I'm in like 2002, 3, 4. I was 22, 23, 24. I'm 42 now.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just knew those type of guys, those type of film school jerks, ones who bark their set lingo around and condescend and act exasperated. Yeah.
Julian has his second parter. He says, what were your biggest influences in life, and how did they affect your choices as this character?
Julian, I don't know. My biggest influences in life? We're talking 42 years of stuff to influence me. I don't know how much time we got to answer that question.
He's just trying to make you sweat tonight. He really is.
Yeah, I'm sweating. If that's all what he's trying to do, can't you see me? I want to make a good impression here. I think what I just said, I knew those. I also worked at a video store for 10 years in Los Angeles. It's called Cinephile. I believe it's still there. And it was one of those, we have everything type stores. And it was kind of like, I didn't go to college, but it was like my format. And I was a big movie guy growing up, loved movies, would stay up all night watching, dozens of them during a week in high school and stuff. And then after. And so when I moved to Los Angeles, I got a part-time job working at a video store. I worked there for 10 years. And it's one of those separated by sections type thing. And it was during an era where clerks were video store clerks. I started working there in an era where video store clerks were rude. And it was a type of a snob job, and, do you have this movie? And then clerks would be like, yeah, we have that one.
Of course we do.
You want? Yeah. It's in the John Frankenheimer section.
Duh.
Didn't you know?
Yeah.
It's in the Theo Angiopoulos section, obviously. But so I don't know, kind of just being around those type of clerks. Maybe occasionally I might have been a rude clerk. It was the environment. But and then later on when video stores started dying, the protocol became hey, let's be a little nicer. Okay. Let's try to be a little nicer to the customers. Okay.
We gotta keep them.
We're on our last leg here, as an industry. Yeah. So I don't know. I just also, knowing those type of people, I remember I did do a night school, film class, and I didn't know how to edit. And so we made Super 8 shorts, and I remember this other kid in the class did know how to edit. And this was 2001. I believe it was like right around the time of 9/11. And I remember, just to give you an idea of when it was. And I remember sitting next to this kid at his, guest house apartment. And while he helped me edit this short, and he was so exasperated. And of course, I'm sure I was very exhausting, like not quite understanding how editing software works. And like, the image goes in reverse when you drag the timeline around. I'm like, why is it going backwards? What, just the dumbest questions that I don't understand. And him just having no patience. And yeah, so that guy probably was an influence.
Okay.
And the video stores, and Yeah, there's my short answer. The shortest answer I can give.
Well, there you go. And when you mentioned 9/11, I was going to ask you, I was going to say, how far are we going back? Was it like when you were working there, was it like Be Kind, Rewind? Were you talking VHS or was that past that?
Oh, well, you may talk the video store. When I worked at the video store, we were still in the VHS era. Then, I started working there in 2003, but, obviously DVDs were around, but these stores, it was like we don't throw anything away store. We can get any movie that you want to find store, whether it's a bootleg, a dub, or whatever. They had a lot of great ones like that in LA for years. Eddie Brandt's, Vidiot's, Cinephile was the one I worked at. It was right by the New Art on Santa Monica and Sawtelle. There was one called Jerry's Video Journeys. There was a pretty sleazy one called Mondo Video.
Okay.
I would go to them all, and that was when I moved to LA. That was like paradise to me. And there was also, the New Beverly and the Egyptian and the Arrow and all those places.
Okay. Well, it's nice with everything we have at our fingertips streaming, like your Netflix and your Prime and your all your AMC, of course. We obviously got to give those guys a shout. But it's kind of sad, like the kids. Yeah, there you go. But it's kind of sad. Some kids aren't going to ever get to experience that. Maybe it's not so sad, but I miss it a little bit.
Sad to me, I miss it.
Yeah, you walk down the aisles aimlessly, like you're just looking at every single case. know. Yeah.
I turned my desk around facing the wall, but I have a decent shelf full of DVDs, mostly ordered during the lockdown year, and a lot of my stuff is in boxes and storage in LA.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's more questions coming in.
I want them. I'll try to give shorter answers because I love to talk.
No problem.
About myself.
Hey, no problem. That's what we're here for, and that's what the fans want to hear as well. So definitely don't shorten your answers up. That's all good. A question from our moderator, Jen Stevens, says, who were some of your biggest comedic influences? And I think we might have an audio question coming up with that one as well, too. So we'll find out about that. I'll go to an audio question next, but comic influences.
Comic influence. I mean, like, who am I a fan of? I mean, I'm a fan of all kinds of comedy stuff.
Maybe growing up a bit.
Growing up, I mean, I loved the Three Stooges. I love Charlie Chaplin. I love Buster Keaton. I loved, I'm starting early and then I'm moving on. I loved Eddie Murphy. I loved Chris Elliott. I loved the Coen brothers, Albert Brooks, Steve Martin, Kids in the Hall, Mr. Show. I mean, anything that, anything anyone would have loved, the Marx Brothers, David Letterman, early David Letterman, though I didn't actually see a lot of David Letterman, when it was airing. I'd see it sometimes. It wasn't until Late Show that I was on it, but the late night, I obviously was missing a lot of revolutionary stuff, but I mentioned Chris Elliott, and I've always been a big fan of his. Mm-hmm. And Get a Life was a show I always remember and think about. And I'm sure I'm leaving things off. I mean, I'm not really good at saying favorites because it always jumps around. I'm like, yeah, that was actually my favorite. Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot about that. Now that's my favorite. Oh, I have that all remember. Oh, I watched that about 1,000 times. Well, I also like the movie Taxi Driver. Yeah. Which I think is funny at parts.
Well, for me, growing up, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy,
of course,
a lot of those guys, Milton Berle, believe it or not. Yeah. That really shows my age. Yeah. I think my mom even watched Milton Berle. I
like the character guys. I like the stand-ups. I mean, I like stand-ups that like also were nothing like the stand-up that I do. I mean, like I like, George Carlin or Jon Stewart or Richard Pryor, and no, there's some a lot of physical comedians. I do a lot of physical comedy, or have done on stage, and so
nice. Well, let's jump over to the audio question in a second. Now, I know there's going to be a repeat question from one of our friends and channel members from Regava. It's very similar to what we've just asked, but I'll play it anyways. But we'll start over with Karina, our executive producer's question. She has an audio voicemail for you, and here it goes.
Hi, Josh. Welcome to the Gilliverse. This is Karina.
Hi, Karina.
The film crew scenes are truly the funniest scenes on the show. I'm a big fan of all three of you. I'm also a big David Lynch fan, especially all 3 seasons of Twin Peaks. I know you're a huge fan of Lynch as well. What was it like working with him and Twin Peaks from a few years ago? Those coffee scenes are priceless, by the way.
It was an experience I will never forget, working with David Lynch, and a dream come true, and every answer, that you would imagine. It's of course a lifelong fan. And rewinding to what I was saying about physical comedy stuff, the process of how some scenes were done, I remember not everything made it in, but there were some sort of sequences where I felt like, because of the environment created, that I could do anything, within the set and the character. Like, there's a scene I remember, there's only pieces of it that are edited in because there was lots of coverage, but I remember the doing was so fun, where the character of Dougie, aka Cooper, Kyle MacLachlan, is he's scared to walk into his boss's office, played by Don Murray, and Don Murray is saying, "Dougie, get in here." And I'm like seeing Dougie, and I'm scared Dougie's going to get in trouble. So I'm holding my coffee, and Dougie's standing there, and I put the coffee down, and I try to drag him into Don Murray's office. And we did a few takes of it. And then once I drag him into the office, then I run back and pick up my coffee. And then, I've made a mess of some rocks in the office, and then David Lynch kind of would sometimes, yell direction over the megaphone, like, "Go back and clean up the rocks," and I just remember doing that, and it was like heaven, because it felt like its own kind of Jacques Tati type of a film. It was all played out in a wide, and I don't know if my describing that was as fun to hear as it was to do, but and we did a few takes, and there'd be something that Kyle MacLachlan would do where I'd realize that he had gotten a secret note, to do something different in the scene to try to get a reaction out of me, and I'd hear that, I'd figure that out later, or someone would tell me that later, and that would be really exciting too, because the scene would be over, and I'd think, "Oh wow, I really felt like I was alive, and I was in the moment." And I'd realize, like, when you did that, it'd be like, "When you did that one thing, that made me think to do that thing," and they're like, "Yeah, he told me to do that." And so, I don't know, there was like a pretty fun. I could tell you so many stories. There's a pretty fun director intuition, that experience, and also he'd give you notes, by doing, he, like, you're seeing him, and it's like, if you ever see him in interviews, it's all the things that he does in the interviews. He will, you're seeing, you're looking at him, and you're not sure what to make of him. He's usually like this, but you're looking at him, and he's your friend. You want to help him. You want to, and he kind of just zaps you into, and you like start mirroring, and you're like, "Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Okay." And then he's like, "Great. Action," and then you go do it, and then you feel great. And that was my experience. I had a lot of fun. I saw a lot of fun things. I witnessed a lot of, just cool fan moments. And I also felt like it was a time where I was there, and I was present, and I did the work, and I was ready to be there and take the notes, and not be like, "Oh my God, I'm such a nervous fan," So that was fun too, as a, I think many actors always have that thing, like, "Am I good enough?" And I felt like, yes, I'm supposed to be here, and I'm having a great time.
That's right. Yeah, you earned your keep, for sure. You earned your place.
Yeah.
Now, the second question here, I know it's somewhat related to comic influences, but Raghav always has very kind things to say about each of our guests. So let's go jump in and see what he has to say.
Okay.
Hey Josh, it's Raghava. It's so great to have you in today's episode of Inside the Gilliverse. I've always really enjoyed the scenes with the Saul Goodman crew, and you've added a lot of fun and humor in the show. Here's my question. Since you're a stand-up comedian as well, I'm really interested in knowing more about a comedian's comedian. So who's your favorite comedian that you enjoy listening to?
So there we go. We did talk about it a little bit, but for sure we wanted to address it.
Yeah, well, that was a very nice question. I should say that. And equally an honor to get to do the funny stuff on the show. And I also will say, I think sometimes we got to have, as the film crew, moments of moments of heart and seriousness. And I don't know if people think about that as well. We were funny, but there's certain things that the writers wrote that were like, I don't know, that scene where Jimmy outside the music store, where Jimmy's kind of heartbroken and like, what's he gonna do? And Haley, drama girl, tries to give him the money back. And I remember all of us the characters all kind of felt like, oh, this is kind of a bummer, like we're all kind of playing it that way. But I remember also there was a scene, I think it was I think the Tom Schnauz episodes. I remember there was another great scene, Expenses. It was in the episode Expenses. And because there's an exchange where camera guy says to Jimmy, he says, all I'm saying is we got expenses. And he's like, and Jimmy barks at me, expenses, you got expenses, I got expenses. And he rattles off his expenses. And I remember him yelling at me and me kind of being like, okay, I get it. And I remember thinking like, oh, there were fun scenes to play. That weren't so funny. So stop saying we're funny.
That's right.
We're serious too. No, just kidding. We're funny. Who are my comedic influences? Well, let's see. Gosh, I love Buster Keaton. I love Charlie Chaplin. I love silent comedians, and I forgot, who did I rattle off 5 minutes ago?
Oh, you said you had a few of them. Charlie Chaplin, you mentioned Three Stooges.
I was
Three Stooges.
I was like, who did I say before?
I know, because you also said they always change too. So your answer is still correct.
Yeah, they always change. Oh, I better change it up. You know what? As the episode goes on, I'm gonna start thinking about who I think is funny.
There you go.
Oh, you know what? Let me say something. My favorite actors, especially as I get older, I'm 42, and when I think about comedic influences, I think about the actors that I love, and I would say I think a lot about Walter Matthau and Peter Falk. And these are actors that are great actors. They can effortlessly slide between comedy and drama. A lot of their most legendary roles happen, in their adult grown man eras of their career. And I find a lot of inspiration in that. And I find a lot of inspiration in that kind of versatility, that they can be funny and serious at the same time. And so that's my new answer now. I had one answer, a few minutes ago. Now I got that answer. I love Peter Falk and Walter Matthau. I love Columbo. I love everything that Walter Matthau's in. I love both of them worked with Elaine May. Yeah.
At the top of the hour, we'll see if we have a different answer. And it's cool that you mentioned the music store scene, because that was one of my favorite episodes, period, because I'm a musician as well, too. I'm staring at the guitars. And Ted
Richie
here...
Blackmore?
Yeah, oh, God, it's great. Ted here in the chat says the best line in the Josh scene was telling Jimmy he was flooding the engine. You're flooding it. You're flooding it.
Oh, yeah. That's Julian.
Oh, was it?
No. I think it's my... I think we both say it.
You both say it.
I think you flooded it. It's definitely flooding it. I'm not flooding, No. Julian says one thing, I say a different thing. Yeah.
Definitely flooding it. You're flooding it.
That's that dialogue. That's Tom Schnauz dialogue. It's just got such a fun rhythm to it. And
I know.
You could always expect some sort of great rhythm to it off the page.
Mm-hmm. I was teasing you earlier when I said Tom doesn't write good episodes. I'm biased.
I knew I could detect the sarcasm.
Oh yeah. I mean, with having Tom as my co-host, coming back as co-host as well too. I mean, I'm very biased, but he is a damn good writer. They're all good. All the men and women.
Emmy nominated for plan and execution.
Let's fingers crossed, and for Ray and everybody, it'd be fantastic. So jumping over to some more questions here, Andrea has a question from over in Germany. She says, do you also have a reference to camera filming or something similar in real life, like a hobby? So in other words, are you into
my camera?
Yeah. Like, do you get into that stuff?
I moved to Los Angeles. I was a funny guy in high school and stuff, and I did improv. I moved to Los Angeles when I was 20 years old in about September of 2000 period. And I wanted to go to film school, but I was not a good high school student and didn't have the focus and didn't really like school. And so I just kept telling people, yeah, I'm getting ready to go to film school. And I took some night classes, and I did, get myself I got a Super 8 camera. And I made a couple Super 8 films. I don't know where they are or how to find them. And I got a Sony VX2000, which I think one of my episodes I was in the scene, I think it's the third episode I was in the scene where he's trying to shoot a commercial with the woman in the house, and we use the woman's wheelchair as a dolly. The first time we do that, there's a dialogue exchange. Nope, no dolly. I ad-libbed a line. I said, or he goes, "What is it with you and money?" And I said, "Saving up for a VX2000." Because I knew that, and it's a Sony camera. And I remember someone saying, "Oh, Sony's going to love that, because it's a Sony camera." So, and I think it made it into the episode. And, but that was the year that I had the VX2000. So I thought, well, I guess the camera guy would be saving up for VX. He's got this, the VHS one, but for his personal, he get more $100 he gets, the more he can afford that VX2000. And, I like to think that camera guy did, he would never use it for Jimmy's commercials, but he did get that VX2000 and he had it at home. But of course, the Canon XL2 was superior to the VX2000.
There you go.
Which he was not, why would he buy his own XL2 when he's made it to such heights at the equipment center? He's running the equipment center, so there's a lot of depth to the writing.
I guess so.
That I pieced together.
There are so many incredible questions coming through. I'm going to bang through some of these fast.
Let's bang through, and I'll bang through too.
All right.
So guys, let's bang them through.
All right, we'll do it. Bradford Skelly says, so we kind of talked about favorite scenes, so I'm going to skip over his question on that one, but I'm going to ask a second part of his question, including the news, the little mini series that you're doing.
Favorite scenes of mine?
Yeah.
From the show?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, it felt like the greatest gift ever. The last episode I was on, Plan and Execution. It was Tom's episode, and he wrote. It's funny. I read it, and I thought, this is a coffee is for closers speech, and that was like, I thought that, and I got so excited, and I thanked him, on the day. I said, this is, unreal. Thank you. And then he tweeted at some point, the story beats of the episode, and it did say, CG for camera guy. Quote, coffee is for closers. And I was like, I was right. It was a coffee is for closers speech. So I don't know. I mean, I have a lot. Every episode I've gotten to work on, it's never not been super fun, but and even from the first episode on, we were in some crazy situations. I mean, like Fifi, that was crazy. Just being there with that airplane on that tarmac and stuff. And the shooting day itself, I remember an actor got sick. But that personally for me, I was like, they did this for me, so obviously I loved that, and it's recent. What's the next question? Let's bang them through.
All right. This is a good one. Guy Incognito says, estimate how much money Jimmy/Saul paid camera guy total across all 6 seasons. I'd love to know what that dollar figure is. What do you think? What do you think he made in 6 seasons? Not you as the actor, but what is?
Yes. No, I get the question. Okay, well, let's think about it. I've been in, I think I appeared in 15 episodes, right? And for a while, we were assuming it was $100 a job, and so we got at least 1,500 there. My math might be bad, but then in the last episode, I say, my fee's 500. It's like 500, so that bumps us up to 20,000. But I'm sorry, not 20,000, 2,000. or someone else keep the track of the math. I get my thousands and hundreds mixed up. Anyway, we got 1,500, and then we get 500 more, and that bumps us up to 2,000. If my math's right, and then we got to assume that maybe he got extra pay when he, had to cut the episodes. So they made reference to camera guy also editing them, and there was lots of spots. I think camera guy was probably bilking. That's a great question. Was probably bilking Jimmy for as much as he could. And Jimmy was probably, robbing camera guy for the cheapest, shittiest fee he could. And I'm going to say, and if it were a few years and Jimmy made a lot of, spots, and we can assume, I'm going to assume that he continues to work with camera guy into the Breaking Bad years, even though we don't see him. That's just sort of like, I would be pretty cruel to myself to not think that. I think camera guy's done all right for a college kid and a college grad who's trying to make as a camera guy. And I think camera guy's also a bit of a cheapskate himself. Let's say over the course of, if they have a 3-year relationship or 2-year relationship or something like that, I'd say he made a few $1,000s.
Okay.
Maybe
right.
$5,000, maybe more. I don't know. I bet you there was some kickback.
Yeah, I'd like to think that too. That especially
when he's getting that Better Call Saul money, when he's getting that Saul Goodman money later on,
Yeah,
and that camera guy is also, he and Saul. There's allusions to that. Camera guy is down to do the shady work too.
Yes.
He's need to know on some of them. And the other I think Julian and Haley probably have an idea about how shady Jimmy is, but I feel like camera guy is the one who's he's down to get dirty.
Yeah, I think so. And I'd like to think personally too that he was around during the Breaking Bad era. I mean, just like Kim could be as well too, right? Yeah. And not to stay on this long, but this is important to mention as well too, as a part of his question. He's kind of referencing the new miniseries that you guys have, like filming lessons. Take a quick couple seconds and tell us about that. That's fantastic.
I got a phone call a couple months ago from the terrific Melissa Bernstein. And she so politely was like, "Would you be down to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she goes, "Do you think that Julian and Haley would?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then that happened, and then we did it. And then so, it was directed by a guy named Dan Appel, who directs, and it was written by Ariel Levine. And Kim Wexler makes an appearance. And I don't know, we all went to LA and shot it in LA and had a hell of a time. We just laughed a whole bunch, and I don't know, I hope people enjoy them. They were super fun to do. It was fun to get to play the characters again and get to play them together. And I think the three of us have such a fun chemistry at this point. I mean, we always did, but now, when you care about something so much and you can feel that other people do, it becomes a bit of a tight-knit family sort of a thing.
Yeah. Kept the band together. Kept the band together.
Yeah. And it was really nice, and
that's cool.
And I know that like lots of fans will wink in there and nudge in there and say, you guys should be the next spinoff. And so it was fun to kind of live that fantasy, Yeah.
Definitely. That's very good. I'm really happy for all of you as well too. I've had Julian on the show here as well too. So he's a great guy as well too.
Love him.
Yeah, you guys are all awesome. A question from Renata, one of our moderators and friends. She is saying, it's got to find it again. So you've been in 20 plus movies. She wants to support and see everything, but if maybe you could recommend a couple of things, like maybe for a person discovering your work outside of Gilliverse, a couple of things that you would say, I think you'd like that.
Oh, brother. Yeah. I'm going to try to not be self-deprecating with that question. Let's see. What movies that Josh Fadem appears in do I want to recommend? Let me see. I will start with, I mean, now are we talking bigger roles or smaller roles or anything goes?
Hey, no, anything. If you recommend
Yeah.
it, she'll watch it. And so will other viewers.
I will say, you know, there was a film that it was a studio movie and then it kind of got buried. I think, I don't know. I mean, I know exactly why. I don't know if it's one of those things like, don't talk about that on the podcast. Anyway, you know, movies get buried and shelved from time to time, and they have intentions to be big. And so I had a pretty big role in this monster comedy, which it kind of got scrapped when, you know, during the editing process. And I think behind the scenes, there was some trouble. It was Sony. Hope no one gets mad at me for talking about it. Cut me some slack. I'm a surviving character actor. But the title of the film was Freaks of Nature. And it was just a great experience working on it. It had such a great cast of comedic actors and actors who are like the top now. You know, it starred Nicholas Braun from Succession and Mackenzie Davis from Halt and Catch Fire, amongst many things. And Bob Odenkirk is in it. Briefly, he plays Nicholas Braun's dad, and it's a monster movie. They called it Kitchen Sink when it was made. And I play the third lead. We all play high schoolers who are monsters, and it's like every monster, you know. There's vampires, zombies, and it's just got so many cameos and fun actors in it. And it really was a movie that, like, I don't know. Another thing was like we all had so much fun working on it, and then, you know, it kind of didn't really go anywhere, and it had some issues, but it was, I don't know. I think it's still fun if you're like looking for something to throw on, a silly comedy. You know, it's sort of like, it's the thing you look at, you go, I'm not sure who even this is for, but there's something to it, you know, and so that was great to work on. And what else did I make that was a feature film? I mean, that's the first one that comes to mind that I really liked working on that. I mean, I love, it's not a movie, but I really loved working on Becoming a God in Central Florida. That was a show that was for Showtime, and it starred Kirsten Dunst, and it was created by my friend Robert Funke, and co-created by Matt Lutsky, and Kirsten Dunst is so great. It's got Mel Rodriguez in it.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
It's got me in it. It's got a few Better Call Saul actors in it. I don't know, that I would highly recommend checking that. It was renewed for season 2, and then it was a pandemic cancellation because it was scheduled to shoot season 2 in April of 2020. And then of course they pushed it. And then of course, when the year went by, they're like, oh, well, we can't renew everyone's contract, so we cancel. I loved working on that. I highly recommend watching that. The season, you know, I like working on the Room 104, and
well, the good thing is we've got Jen Stevens, our friend and moderator. She posted a link to your IMDb profile as well too, so people can go through there and just go through and start looking, and maybe go find one of these video stores if there's any of them left. And
yeah, go find them. I bet you everything's streaming somewhere. You
it
can
will
dig
be
it all up.
YouTube or whatever. You know, it'll be there somewhere.
Yeah, I was in a lot of horror comedies, you know, that's a lot of indie movies, you know. There was a movie I did that was pretty fun and silly called Dear Sidewalk, with Joe Mazzello. And then there was a movie, and that was fun to work with him. He's a really talented actor. He was in Jurassic Park. Who else? What else? Oh, they can look. What's the next question?
All right. Well, there's
more to come. Come check me out. I'm going to be also, if you want to watch more of me, I'm going to be on the season premiere of Reservation Dogs.
Fantastic. When's this?
That will air August 3rd.
On what network?
On FX, on Hulu. Hulu FX, you know, one of those.
Okay. And, fantastic. Google it.
Yeah, Google it. Reservation Dogs season 2. Created by Sterling Harjo and Taika Waititi, and set in Oklahoma, about Native kids, and they're causing trouble and trying to get out of there.
That sounds good. I'll check it out. We'll all check it out.
Season one, it won a whole bunch of awards. all that sort of thing.
Good.
And I'm in that. I play a guy who's robbing a store and gets killed by a lady.
Oh,
But I'm a different character now.
oh, okay.
Character. Killed that guy. Now I'm a new guy.
Oh, interesting. Job security. Job security.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
Well, you mentioned a couple names there, and we have a couple questions coming up here.
More questions. How are we doing on time? I got nowhere to be.
We're doing good. We're doing good. We got 10 minutes.
Okay.
But you mentioned
I'll try
that.
to rapid fire answer these.
No problem. You mentioned there's a couple questions dealing with Bob Odenkirk, and we also kind of toyed with the phrase of Gilligould. So I'm going to take a 2-second time. I promised everyone that was watching tonight we'd make a special announcement as well too. And I had to write this down because I would forget. I forget dates. So I kindly invite you to tune in August 5th. It's Gilligould evening. So we're going to have creators of Breaking Bad and the co-creator of Better Call Saul, Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould on the same night, Friday, August 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Vince and Peter both will be joining me live here. And on August 12th, Saul Goodman himself, Bob Odenkirk, will be on the show, and he may be bringing a special lady. Did I say female? I don't know. We'll see about that. But Bob Odenkirk is going to be here on Friday, August 12th. So going over to Bob Odenkirk, Jerry Leica from Michigan says, did you and Bob ever talk any comedy, any future projects with Bob planned?
Have I ever, you mean future projects with me and Bob to work together?
Yeah.
We've goofed around and joked around, and every time I worked on the show, we're always laughing up a storm and riffing on some joke, and then Bob will say, "We gotta do that," and I'll say, "Yeah, of course." And I think we've tossed ideas around, or he'll tell me about something he's working on, or I'll tell him about something I'm working on. I wrote a script, that I want to make in Oklahoma. I might say, "Hey, Bob, want to do something together?" And he might say no, but I don't know. There's all kinds of possibilities. I love working with Bob and would work with him again in a second. So maybe if who asked that question?
That was from Jerry from Michigan, my friend Jerry.
Jerry, just make the demands. It'll happen.
Tweet away, Jerry. I'm not sure if Jerry's on Twitter. I'm not sure. I got him on Facebook, but I'm not sure if he's on Twitter.
Think it away. Just think it.
Yeah, that's right. Make it, will it, and it will happen. Yeah. Jennifer Lord, this is a very good question. She says, have you ever asked if you could do a scene differently than the director wanted you to do it?
I don't know if, definitely not on Better Call Saul. You mean in life or as an actor? Definitely not on Better Call Saul. It's kind of like a mix of like, we just rehearse it and then we do it and then we do it a whole bunch. And then it a lot of times with the camera, with the film crew scenes, we'd do it and then we'd run it. And then it would just kind of just come to life, and the comedy would just happen. Occasionally I'd toss a line in there, I'd ad lib something and someone would either say, "Oh, don't say that." And someone would say, "Do say that," but I don't think I ever said, I would prefer to do it this way, my way, or the highway. I think it always felt like it was really open to ideas, I always felt very free to do stuff. And I think probably even the first time I did it, it was Bob asked if I wanted to rehearse. I remember the first season, and I went over to his place and we ran the scene a bunch, and then so we were pretty loose when we were doing it. And I think a couple of lines were ad-libbed here and there, and some may have made it into the cut and some may not have. Yeah.
Fantastic. A question. This one is from, where did I go? Did I lose it? This one. No, it's a comment. Ted McElway, if I'm pronouncing it right. Does camera guy miss makeup girl?
Does camera guy miss makeup girl? You mean, do I miss Haley, or does camera guy in life? It's hard
both.
To say.
Let's go both. Let's do both.
Yeah, I miss Haley. She's great. She's a good friend of mine. And she's terrific. Does camera guy? I wonder where camera guy's emotions lie. I'm not quite sure if he experiences missing someone, but then at the same time, also, I imagine they're probably always working together. And when you're that age and that era, that post 90s Bush era of snarkiness, I feel like, and college age, I feel like young people tolerate a personality in their friend circle, such as camera guy, more than when you get older you would. So I I think they probably see each other a lot anyway. And they're probably just like, hey, that's camera guy, or whatever they think, whatever their names are between them. Yeah, which is a whole other topic, really, the name stuff. I don't know if anyone's got questions about that. And what the internet thinks. I noticed when they finally gave the film crew names in the online shorts. They named them after the real department heads from the show, Marshall, Phil, and Sherry. And but the props department had previously named, just to catch everyone up, camera guy. On the first episode, they made a prop newspaper that they zoomed in, and you can pause it and see. And they named camera guy Joey Dixon after the editors. They combined the names of the editors, and so a lot of places, but they never referred to camera guy in the show as Joey. It's just always, they don't refer to him as anything, dude, man, whatever. But the script also explicitly says camera guy, and then someone was tweeted. Twitter is so funny, and I know Reddit is too. That someone tweeted like, "Can you believe this retconning of camera guy's name or of Joey Dixon's name or whatever?" But I knew a guy in Oklahoma who is now a camera guy. In high school, I knew him. His name was Rob. Now he goes by Hunter. So it could very easily be Joey Marshall Dixon, or Marshall Joey Dixon, or Marshall Joseph Dixon. We don't know this, as well. I remember early in the season hearing that Vince referred to camera guy as Kid Kubrick, and that they referred to him as Kid Kubrick. But then eventually they started referring to him as camera guy. So maybe Kid Kubrick kind of got ironed away. So there's all kinds of, no one asked this question, but I felt like it was important to address it as camera guy. Yeah.
I forget who I had on the show, and I want to think it's Tom. Before Tom became the co-host, I think it was Tom, but I feel I might be wrong in this, but someone had said, because someone mentioned Joey Dixon, and they were like, oh, he has a name? And they were
that same exchange on Twitter. I feel like someone said Joey Dixon, and Tom wrote, his name is Joey?
Yeah, that's what it was, and it was Tom.
And then I wrote my own dissertation on my knowledge of camera guy's name and the many layers that it carries, and then the whole naming him Marshall for the digital shorts. I'm waiting for someone else to weigh in on if it's canon or not. That's not for me to decide.
Okay. Well, we heard it here.
I'm going to say it's going to make it easier for everyone if his name is Joey Marshall Dixon, or Marshall Joseph Dixon. That could be his name.
I like Marshall Joseph Dixon. That sounds.
Marshall Joseph, and then he went by Joey because he didn't like being called Marshall when he was a kid, and he stuck with Joey. But then as he started getting more prestigious, as his cinematographer career, with Jimmy and Saul Goodman started taking off, he's like, you know what? I'm going to rename myself, because cinematographers have often unique names. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to be Marshall Dixon now.
Yeah, and the hipsters can call you MJD, with that kind of thing.
Totally. MJD, we got MJD to shoot it. MJD, MJD has got the hookups at the camera lab.
Yes, exactly. I mean, MGD would be better. That's Miller Genuine Draft, but that still works. That still works.
You could say genuine with a J.
Genuine. Yeah. Yes, I like it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is very good. My buddy Kevin, How's That TV is in the chat saying hi, and shameless plug if you want to check out new music we're doing right now, howsthatrocks.com. Check it out. Tom heard it. I'll have to send it to you as well too. I'll send you some new music. Yeah. Very, very cool. Well, listen, we're at the top of the hour here. I want to say a massive thanks to you. And what we should do sometime in the near future?
No more questions. We're all out. We're all out of time.
We're running out of time. But
sorry, guys.
But we've had the 2/3 of the film crew on here. We got to get all three of you on here one night.
You got to get Haley on there.
Yeah, she followed us tonight on Twitter or on Instagram. Thank you, Haley, for following us. That's really cool. Yeah, you want to do it? Want to do it one night?
Hell yeah!
All right, we'll get all three of you on here. That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. And it's just going to be rapid fire questions. I'm not even going to write a script for that episode. I'm just going to be free form, and it's going to be all fans all night long. And we can even go longer if we want as well too. We'll just have a open forum. That'll be a lot of fun.
I love going long. I do a lot of therapy.
Okay.
So, has anyone? I got a question for you. Have you thought about Vinter Gouldigan?
Vinter Gouldigan?
Yeah.
I like
Just
that.
Came up with that.
Vince Gilligan. That's pretty cool. You know what? I'm gonna make an audio snippet of that, and I'm gonna play that back for them when they come here on the 5th.
Vince Gould again.
Vince Gould again. I can't. I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop. But I want to thank some other awesome people too that make this happen. I just push the buttons and smile at the camera and make sure there's no train wrecks. But I want to thank our sponsors, Warren and Rachel at bobbleheads.com. Check out all those very cool bobbleheads you can see back there from the Gilliverse. I want to also thank our executive producer, Karina, and as well as her moderating team, Eamon, Jen, Renata. And big thanks to everyone at Gilliverse headquarters, including Jen, Mel, and Joanna, all our subscribers, channel members, all that really, really cool stuff. And again, make sure you tune in on the 5th for Vince Gilligan and, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You run with it. Do it however you like.
And then Saul Goodman himself, he is here on August 12th. So don't forget to come check us out on that one as well too. And hit us up on all the socials. All the links are down below, and all of Josh's links are in there as well too. So check that out. And if you're new here tonight, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We'll work just as hard to keep you as a subscriber as we did to get you. We really didn't do anything to get you, but we promise we'll work hard to keep you. Josh, I'm going to say goodbye to you off the air. It's been a pleasure, and I hope everyone has a fantastic and safe weekend. And we will see you right here on Inside the Gilliverse, where it smells like bacon and fear. See you next time. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks again for tuning into Inside the Gilliverse with Eric Broadbent. Be sure to check back each week for more great discussions and interviews with cast and crew from Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.